Hey everyone, Brian here with DIY Outdoor Life. In today's video, I want to share with you a bunch of hacks and tips and tricks to make these outdoor water heaters a lot easier to use. I'm going to argue that it makes them a lot safer as well, but I'll let you be the judge of that. There's some real cool stuff that we did with this, so I can't wait to show you guys. So we're gonna start with the finished product. I'm gonna show you all of the little gizmos I use to put this thing together. Some of these things I came up with on my own. Some of them I've stolen from other people, checking out their setups. And then I'll take a step back and we'll go one by one on how I put these things together. The most important part of this video is gonna be the video description. You're gonna click show more or the drop down arrow to see the text description. That's where I'm gonna put the exact links to the components in there, because I bought a whole bunch of stuff and most of it either didn't work or was unnecessary. I wanna save you that trouble, so I will make a curated list of the exact products I made to do this. So let's get rolling. These on-demand hot water heaters became a very popular do-it-yourself mod a few years ago. You take one of these hard case boxes, attach it to your tiny camper. Now you have on-demand hot water to wash dishes or to be able to take a shower at the campsite. They're great. Some of the better camper manufacturers caught on to that and they're offering it as part of a package. Now I had mine completely done by Hiker Trailers. I like how they did their design. They're bolting it to the lid and it's actually the box that's moving. So it's not carrying the weight of the heater like as if it was attached to this, but with the lid, you have good venting room and lots of clearance down here to get the job done. So once you have one of these, you open it up, you have to connect it with a source of pressurized water. This camper has a reservoir and a water takeoff, so that makes it easy. Some people actually have the sub pump option that you put in a bucket or into a clean water source. It might be a cool idea to get both. I could see the value in that. But you have to hook the water up to the unit, you have to hook your shower head up to the unit, and then you have to give it pressurized gas. So with this trailer, there's a gas tank right here. You connect your regulator hose and thread it into the bottom. This isn't really that big a deal. But what happens is you end up setting it up that way at camp and kind of leaving it there until it's time to pick up. You now have the whole octopus of things hanging off. Maybe your lid is blowing around in the wind. That's not my preference. I like to break it down and set it up every time I use it. And that can get a little bit annoying. You also stand the risk of cross-threading or your washer wearing out. You start getting leaks. And I certainly don't want to wear out the brass ends on my gas connection, that little flare connection on here. So here's the series of mods I made to make this thing a lot nicer. So Hiker already gave you a nice quick connect to install your water for this setup. I installed quick connects on my hose so that it just snaps in and then it snaps in. So there's no threads from this point on. Now my hose connector for the shower head already had a quick connect. I installed this little suction cup here that it goes on. I'll put links to all of this stuff in the video description. Now for the gas, I used a gas quick connect that'll do the same thing. It's a different component that we'll talk about, but I could thread this in and then just snap the gas in, and now this job is 5 to 10 seconds instead of 5 minutes. Now, as convenient as that is, I did realize that I have another issue here, and some other experienced campers kind of tipped me off to this. This 11-pound propane tank is like a lifetime supply of gas for this unit. You're always trying to conserve water, and naturally you're going to be conserving gas as well. This is like 10 or 15 years worth of gas. I could have saved a lot of money if I skipped this tank to fill up and this very expensive mount to put this on the side of the trailer. So I'm going to show you a little different option that I'm going with. I made this little device. It's got a valve that shuts the gas off, the regulator that's required to go from a tank to an appliance, and I put the gas quick connect on this. I remove my little safety cap here, and it snaps in. It's not that heavy. It stays on here real sturdy. And what I'm finding out is 1 pound of gas is actually enough to last me an entire season. So if I skipped this device altogether, that would have been enough money to buy a lifetime supply of these portable tanks, these disposable tanks. But I actually have some refillable options. I'm phasing these out so I can use a 1 pound refillable, save a bunch of money, and this is a lot nicer. Over here, I could save this as like a storage for a backup. I could cook with it or use an outside fire pit, but I'm actually humoring the idea of taking this off altogether. I'll put another box just like this next to it, and now I actually have a spot to carry all these little things that go along with the shower. I don't have to put them inside the camper. So these mods have made everything a lot easier to use, and I would argue safer than threading things on and off a whole bunch of times. Because I put a brass splitter with ball valves on it coming off of the water output, I can actually use a quick connect and hook up the cold water hose without disconnecting anything else. This is nice to wash your feet off, or if you need cold water for something. I put quick connects on every part of this. Now, I got a garden sprayer with a mister because the pressure pumps on these campers put out a really high PSI. You can shred through your water capacity on a boondocking trip really fast. This mist option uses a lot less water. You can wash dishes with it. It's just overall a really nice way to get pressure without going through as much water. So this whole setup has really just taken this whole hot water heater and water takeoff and just moved it to the next level. It's easier to use and there's more functionality. I got an extra length of garden hose. I can put quick connects on this as well. So then I'd be able to run this around to the other side of the camper if you want to do that. Having 2 short hoses is better than just bringing 1 long hose. It wastes less water and it's a lot easier to pack and to use just what you need. If this is enough, I leave it. If I want to run it somewhere else, I have a small extension. So if this is of interest to you and you understand why this is a big advantage, I'll walk you through step by step and I will show each component that links in the description, one at a time so anyone can do this. It starts with this brass splitter. It's a hose splitter. It has ball valves that will control each side, and that's important. You don't want to get one of the plastic ones or one of the real flimsy cheap ones, and you can actually use Teflon tape and snug this up with tools because this is now a permanent connection. Now my Aquair connection that comes through Hiker, I'll link this in my description as well. This is a really cool new way of doing hose bibs. You can even do these on your house, so it's a really cool setup, but they make one that actually has a downswept angle, like a curved one. I'll link that too because that might be a nice upgrade. The next item in the video description are these hose bib quick connectors. It allows you to just snap hoses in instead of threading them and on-threading them with a washer every time. If you get the good ones, they work effortlessly and they don't leak. You're gonna need a bunch of them because basically each set comes with 2, a male and a female. So that makes 1 connection. Well, I have a connection on this side, I have a connection on this side, I have a connection on the hot water heater. I even put connections on the sprayer head and my extension hose. So the amount that you need will depend on how many of these you want in your system. I ended up actually getting 6 sets of these, 6 sets of 2, so 12 fittings total. Getting 2 different types though will make it easier so that you only have 1 position to put these in, and that's nice when somebody else is using the system besides the person who built it. The next thing in the video description is a short, high-quality hose, something that I can connect the hot water heater to the splitter with, and I put the quick connects on each side. I did put a quick connect actually on the hot water heater. That's what allows me to make the connection on one side of the hose, the other, and you've settled the water side of this unit. Now my shower head with the hose actually came with a quick connect, so I didn't have to get one there. That works well. But you'll see in my video description this little suction cup shower head holder. I like that. And I did change the shower head. It's really inexpensive, but instead of this switch, I put one on here with a button. It's nice for one-hand operation. And again, when you're saving water, you want to be able to turn it on, turn it off. Now we're able to move on to the gas section, which will scare some people. It's a little bit tricky, but anyone can do this. So propane gas quick connects are a separate product. We wouldn't use the water ones. And I'm going to list these in a separate section, but there's a lot of options here. Most of them are just 3/8. They snap in and they make a good connection. You're able to put this 3/8 male adapter on the hot water heater, and you can put the female on your whip, and you can make this connection really easy. Whether you're gonna go with this or you wanna do the 1-pound adapter, I did run into a couple little snafus here that I'll try to walk you through to avoid you making the same mistake. When you start working with gas fittings, you usually have to have some knowledge here to be able to convert or identify different types of threads. I want to make this as easy as possible. The hot water heaters typically come with what's called a 1/2-inch MPT thread. Now, a 1/2-inch MPT thread is very common, but most of the ends on your gas regulators take what's called a 3/8 flare fitting. So my hot water heater, new from Hiker, came with this little adapter screwed onto that 1/2-inch MPT thread. That adapts the 1/2-inch to the 3/8 flare, and that's what fits your standard whip. We're gonna have to mess around with this a little bit to be able to work with these quick connects. I'm gonna list in the video description a multi-kit of the 3/8 gas fittings. That'll come in handy. But this is the issue that I ran into. If I use the adapter off what came from the factory to go from the 3/8-inch flare to a 3/8-inch thread, and then I have to put the male on there, it sticks down too far and the box had trouble closing. It did fit, but I just didn't like how it was rubbing on the bottom of the box. So what I did was I backed all of those fittings off and I went a different direction. It's less parts, easier to use, but you're gonna have to choose the next item in my video description, which is the 1/2-inch gas quick connect. And let me show you how to use that. The 1/2-inch gas quick connect, this one that I'll link in my description for the hot water heater side, has that 1/2-inch thread that goes right to the hot water heater. So I can back all of that stuff off, put some Teflon tape, and snug this up with a wrench. You don't have to over tighten it, but now I have tons of room. But that means I have to go to a 1/2-inch gas connector. So whether you're going with your gas whip or building this adapter, I'll link the female side of that quick connector because that's what plugs in. It's gonna be easier, but we are moving from the 3/8 fitting to the 1/2-inch fitting. So when you're following that description, you'll be able to see how to get the right parts. And this connects really easy now and is able to go into the unit. So let me show you how to build this side. So to use the 1-pound gas cylinder, you're actually doing the same thing as using one of these bigger gas cylinders. Everything is just downscale. So I'm gonna link the 1-pound adapter with a valve. This valve allows me to turn the gas on and turn the gas off. Now these quick connects will stop the flow of gas, but we want to be able to control the valve right off the tank. Now that piece goes right into this regulator that you can buy off Amazon as well. The regulator takes your tank pressure and it converts it to the 1/2 pound per square inch that these appliances like. You use that on your barbecue grill at home. You always have to use a regulator when running off a tank, and this is no different. Now the next step is that the top of your regulator has that 3/8 inch fitting. That's what these go into, but we switched to 1/2 inch. So the part that I'm gonna have you get is this simple 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter. It'll be the next item in the video description. That threads in, allows you to put this quick connect on, and now you've created this device. So you can sit this on the fender. Maybe I'll be able to store this in my box when I put it on the side of the camper, but this is just a lot cheaper and a lot easier to use. And now you've constructed the gas side of this and we're done. If you have a furnace connection on your hiker or other trailer, I will include that 3/8 inch kit because I actually got these caps. Now it's on here pretty secure. I don't want dust in there on the road. But now my furnace has a quick connect as well. And when I'm not using it, I do have this cap that I'll put in there that snaps it and protects it. Guys, all of these things add up. I really don't like threading brass 100 different times. So this stops the need from having to do that. Now at camp, it's as simple as one, I got my pump turned on. 2, 3, 4, and you can turn your gas on. And now, there's gonna be a little air that I'll work out of the system. Now the hot water heater is filled, and I'll turn the switch on. There's an electric switch here for the igniter. And I don't know if you can see this, but the water is hot now. On a day like this, there's not going to be any steam. You're going to have to take my word for it. But now I have push button control. You can hear the igniter working on this. So if you're filling a little dish for soap water to wash dishes and then fill in a rinse section, or you can turn this head, has adjustments on it for a shower. I could set up a shower room, but most of the places I go, I don't need that. But this suction cup device here does make things a lot easier. So I hope all of this stuff come through on the video. If you made it this far, you're probably pretty interested in this stuff. Feel free to comment or send me an email if you have any confusion putting this together. It's all about knowing the right parts to get, and that's why I will spend time trying to make that video description with the drop-down arrow as easy as possible. If you have any tips that I missed, I'd be very excited to hear from you guys. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.